Good morning. Okay, today we are going to review an article. Why are we so rich and they so poor? Author David S. Lundy published this article on the American Economic Review in May 1990. This is published by American Economic Association. This article is quite interesting uh, and very practical. As we read the topic, why are we so rich and they so poor? Author speaks from the developed area of the world as we. Why developed area of the world is developed, rich, and remaining third world is so poor. The, this is an article in the form of question. Why are we so rich and they so poor? Let's brief, explain this article briefly. Sorry. Uh, this article is a question from the side of people of developed region to the underdeveloped region. However, the writer Landis doesn't want to take any side. At the very beginning of article, he proclaims that inequality reducing strategies will be different if one side is considered good and another is bad. Author seems to be neutral here. If developed region of the world is whether it is good or not, and underdeveloped and undeveloped region of the world is either we may say good or bad. But, the writer remains neutral at this point. Uh, both sides may be good and bad equally. It interprets the historical arguments very interestingly. This article elaborates the historical pavements of the world development process from the very beginning of agricultural era to the industrial era. Why these advanced countries pave forward in the race of development in the world, and why the remaining countries are at the bottom of development region, why the race they lose. This article analyzed from the very beginning and how the gap and between rich and poor in the world becoming bigger and bigger. This inequality is taking shape higher and higher. What is the cause behind this? This article elaborates very interestingly and very systematically. Arguments are very uh, evident based and how the growth scenario changes in the world from the 18th century to the end of 20th century. What are the major factors that shapes the scenario of development to in the world? This article has divided into seven sections, and therefore my opinion for this article is the major concern of this article is geopolitical economy of the world and other factors related with the developmental aspect. Okay, The first section of this article elaborates the Adam Smith's point of view, which is how invisible hand works in the open market for the growth of the economy. And in this article uh, here, writer call it as a natural growth, and this invisible hand is the basic cause for the growth of the economy at the very beginning of the economic era. So, and this natural growth is limited from the Malthusian and Ricardian perspective of agriculture or land. There are very common concept among the classical thought. However, the Malthusian theory limits this natural growth as natural disasters restriction, and likewise Ricardian theory is based on the diminishing marginal production in the agricultural sector by the limitness of land. So this is the first phase of this first section writer uh, explains in the article, and secondly, and the second phase, uh, growth is natural model remained for well over 100 years the dominant paradigm, so much so that it's become an invisible given up economic thought in general. And uh, how 18th century is rush very rapidly in the developmental sector as an industrial revolution, and that increases the gap between rich and poor. The industrial revolution is based upon the international trade. Actually, basically, international trade is catalyst for the industrial revolution for the European and European countries, industrial country. This is the basic reason for the development of developed region of the world. And thirdly, the Marxian approach of economic thought, mainly about distribution of national income, is the another factor for the development and the diversification of developmental status among the countries of the world, and ownership and use of factors. Class struggle and capitalist consequences are given focus on the issue. It is this Marxist school of thought for the development, and actually, Karl Marx is in the favor of controlled economy as socialism and communist thoughts. And the fourth section of this article is about the progress in 20th century countries like Japan by Staples theory in trade. Staples mean um, only one commodity is given more priority, and that makes the highly internal trade among the world, and that is dominant goods to trade internationally. And the awareness of lateness by third world is discussed in fifth section. Yes, at the mid of 20th century, post-Keynesian thought and monetarist view comes on the ground, and that is rise of the awareness for third world, why these countries are late in the race of development. The lateness is they were due to the political awareness, political revolutions held on these countries. And in the sixth section, actually, this is concluding section, and this section is critical analysis about the gap. The nation in the world have different level of development. Actually, different country has development level, different level, and due to the different ability to absorb new technology and availability of natural resources and manpower. So, in third world like Nepal, India, Pakistan, China, Bangladesh, these in the South Asian countries are in develop, developmentally different level. So it is the scene of glass half full and half empty. Half full side of by wise policies, and half empty is seen by the failure due to the colonization and lateness. Actually, development scenario of the country like Nepal, half full glass. From the optimistic side, Nepal has abundance of natural resource, manpower, and it can uh, import the latest technology to develop, and so it is highest possibility to develop. So it is half full glass, and half empty means from the pessimistic side, there is no way to converge the uh, economic growth of developing country or developed country due to the pressure, international pressure for the trade, while Nepal is applying a liberal economic policy. So colonization and dominance of great large economy is the cause for the half empty glass of the development. So it is not only the question of optimist or pessimist, rather how to resolve the gap. It is the issue. So how uh, undeveloped country make full race. They can run very in high speed than the developed country. It is the question how the gap, how the inequality can be removed. It is the question. So, hence the question is reformulated. Does it make any difference to be late in development? So, third world is obviously third world is late in the development race of development. So, is this late is making some difference, or is a cause, or anything else? So, Alexander Gassenkron argues lateness can be an opportunity of poor country for rapid growth. From the side of half full glass, this lateness is the opportunity to run fast. He develops spurt model of late growth. This Alexander's model is sport growth, known as sport growth model. This analyzing the experience of Britain, Germany, and Russia, lateness may be the catalyst for the rapid economic growth. Okay, and the poor country can learn from this country and can achieve growth like Taiwan and Korea. This is like a mountaineer is making uh, track to the mountain if we want to overcome the mountaineering, and then first climber makes the way for the climber and him. So poor country can learn, can get the new technology which is already used and developed in the developed country, and can follow a model to which is familiar, which is already experimented and developed by developed country. So poor country has a open track and visible track to grow up their economy. So it is a benefit. It is an opportunity to poor country. So lateness. It means uh, the runner and the last has opportunity to run fast, following the uh, first man, following the ahead. Some reasons of failure or slower success for the development are given by author here. Widening gap between rich and poor countries. Why the inequality is becoming high? It is not easy to catch up the knowledge and technological know-how of rich nations by poor nation. It is one of biggest issue. Technology developed in developed rich nations, is not transferred in poor countries to grow up to make the high production in the same level, it means the same capacity. Likewise, if a technology is used in the poor rich country, that is beneficial that region highly, but in poor country that remains irrelevant. It is one basic question, and the two basic possible ways are hire people from rich nations and train on people. The solution of this problem, poor country can hire the people, manpower from rich nations, and in other another solution is he can train on people for that technology, for that latest um, technology. Both ways are expensive, so have to do less than best. So a, a mantra for economic growth here is less than best. A poor country has to do less than best LTV process. Yes, okay. It is a challenging problem of brain drain or outflow of human capital from the poor country because globalization and consumer sovereignty creates its problem. A person can consume everywhere in the world and can earn and spend anything from any corner of the world. That makes the problem of brain drain and outflow of the human capital, and however that is beneficial to remittance inflow of to the poor country, but it is a kind of disadvantages. And another major is specialization on foreign trade is not so easy at this juncture of 21st century. International trade is not easy, and the specialization and dominance on the global market is very hard for the poor nation. Poor nation uses same technology of rich nation, producing primary goods that limits the market power to make goods suitable and competitive on the global market, because technology is imported and manpower is also imported. So cost of production becomes higher than rich countries. So on the international trade, poor country cannot compete equally to the rich nation. Stable theory of 18th century and 19th century cannot work solely today, because stable theory um, is a kind of specialization, because the European country specialize particular goods and produce at lower cost, and that makes the dominant market on the global country, and they focus on only one thing to do the international trade for in the staple theory, like the story of sugar from the Europe, exported everywhere in the world, and a rubber, food, crop, like etc. So this cannot be applied in today's world because every country has technology to produce everything. Another major is bad politics of lateness. Uh, Political freedom is almost everywhere in the world. Every country is enjoying democracy. So people, voice of people for the government, and the slower growth and workingness of the government body, it is a problem in the uh, poor countries. Due to the power of information, social networks and internet service facilities provides the power of information to every general public in the world, and they can raise their voice to do the expected growth rate, to achieve the expected growth rate in the nation, and that evokes that provokes the issue of lateness, and the so great haste with much waste is the sim- simile for this. The geopolitical conflict be a biggest hurdle here in the world. Chinese school of thought, means political line, and the Indian American line are different, and their geopolitical interests uh, are controversial to each other. So it is the biggest hurdle for the international trade, like Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and this is a problem. And the good government making is too long process. Governance problem, which means the problem of corruption. Actually, uh, in case of Nepal, corruption is a disease which cannot grow up, which is hurdle to grow up the flower of development in Nepal. So good government process, good government making is the long process, and it is related to the morality of leaders of political system and governments. So heterogeneous societies, historical, cultural identities are hindrances for the good government, and the selfishness and like this. So misdiagnosis and mistreatment is another problem. Lack of proper policy, right time, right policy, and evaluation and supervision of that policy. And yeah, policies are there are different kind of policy to development in poor country, and these policies are not appropriate and not means evaluated properly. So every nation is not in the same place, and is every nation ready? The question is, poor countries are not in same level. All countries are not ready to develop, to grow up. It is if a seed makes its fertility out. And that is so it's every nation ready. It is a question. Late for the development is outside blame. And colonization, neo-colonization, unequal trade, underdevelopment, peripherality, dependency are not same for the every poor country in the world. Different country has different state, and they must have different policy, different struggle, different way to develop. Okay, next, socio-cultural factors. Religion and cultural primitiveness of societies are problem for the development. Actually, every individual in the world, in the poor country actually, in different society, in different community, has different capability, different capacity for the entrepreneurship and to do the job, to do business, and to do anything. Due to the what it's a faith, different pattern of faith in their mind. Accordingly, the different culture and religion, they actually most of the people are fatalistic, and they depend upon their rituals and but so it's the problem. But religious and cultural values are helpful to rational economic behavior, okay, morality and saving, investment and happiness. So that keeps the religious values and cultural rituals. But values and attitudes to change, but slowly by the development. These values can be changed through knowledge and way of time, passing time, but they slowly the change maybe slowly. So economy and socio-cultural relation is line of historical sociological sociologist. That is the Max Weber's line. Okay, at last the conclusion of this theory, the last section of the article, development is continuous struggle in the world. From very beginning of industrialization, it is case by case process. Many try, but few choose on. Okay, rainfall again is not enough. Until sustained growth by technological progress with increasing productivity. So, socioeconomic change requires the creation and acceptance of new ethic of personal behavior. They need to develop time and work value. Poor country need to develop their time and work value. Can we change the as a whole concept of gap? Okay, if it is every everlasting or non-reducible, if the gap between poor and rich is non-reducible, everlasting, why we are not accepting this as it is? We cannot leave it. The equality among countries, equality among people is not possible in this liberal world, this liberal economy and free world, so open world. So if we, why are not accepting the gap as it is? We cannot leave it because we think a super animal on planet and must be equal. That is the natural equality is not possible. So why we are saying every time rich and poor, all are equal, all are um, acceptable. All are okay. All are correct in every step, every place. But basic need must be fulfilled. So, but we need to do our best. We have the task. It is ours as well as the theirs. Poor and from the side of poor, speaker is speaking here from the side of rich. So it is ours as well as theirs. It is a task. It is impossible, but we must act as if it were not. Okay, for the reward is in the trying. Trying is the reward. They must do. For more is better than less. It may go longer, pay to be late, but late better late than never. So, the conclusion why they are poor and we are rich. There is no exact answer. There is no fix to solve this problem. So thank you very much.